Guys, welcome to Raising Vibrations. This is Simon, and in this video today I'm going to be discussing some of the things that you need to know about the moon's nodes, and just maybe taking the perspective of astrology and to the next level, where we integrate the knowledge that we have discovered on YouTube and the knowledge that we've discovered through reading various articles, etc., okay? Because as long as we hold the awareness within ourselves that we have discovered what this means, it still doesn't actually change our lives, because it's just information. And that's what's really dangerous about this stuff, is that once we take knowledge and then we actually integrate it into our lives, making choices in accordance with this information, this knowledge, then we get the wisdom aspect. That's when we actually get the understanding for us specifically, okay? So this video today is intended to kind of give a perspective of not only how to understand what they mean, then to how to integrate that. And then at some point when I've got some time, I'll be able to create a series when the South nodes in Sag, the North nodes in Gemini, for instance, okay, as an example, so that you can then, not only use the material that you've learned about and what they symbolize, but actually put them into practice for you, okay? In fact, what I'm going to do in this video, screw it, I'm just going to do that for you guys, okay? I'm just going to give you the information regarding what to do with the nodes. All right, so step one, understanding the moon's nodes. Firstly, okay, we're dealing with time, okay? The nodes themselves correlate to time, okay? That's what they look like. That's the North node in the astrology charts, and that's the South node, okay? They deal with time. Now, what is time? Time is the experience of our reality in accordance with the choices that we've made. So it's direction. This is Capricorn, right? So firstly, what we're dealing with here is the choices that we have made and experienced in the past that have become part of our everyday understanding of what we think reality is. That would be the South node. The South node symbolizes the parts of reality that we've experienced that have become what we know to be within ourselves, our truths, our perspectives, our realities, our responses, and so on and so forth, okay? So we understand that. The next thing to understand about the nodes is that was an incubator that we have used coming into this incarnation that reflects to us the types of karmic dynamics that generally play out in our lives from an unconscious perspective. As an example, I have South Node in Sagittarius. For me, if you had to very lightly put it across, a large majority of my consciousness is shifted towards the nature of truth and what it means. So the place and the places that I would have generally been exposed to in this early life environment and what I would naturally feel comfortable in is exploring truth, experiencing the nature of answering bigger questions in life, and really trying to get a deeper understanding about what we are doing here on the earth. You can see this because this is the YouTube channel that you're watching. So the point that I'm trying to make here is that it is a familiarity that we are used to based on what we've been doing in the past, and the past representing the time that we've experienced, okay? The second thing is the North node itself, which is that symbolism over there, represents an aspect of our consciousness that, because we have been experiencing things in one sign, the general norm of the other sign would not be as holistically integrated as the South node. So as an example, the majority of searching for truth and wisdom, etc., will be coming from a perspective of that is mine. Now, the polarity point or opposite side of Sagittarius is what? Gemini. So what does Gemini ask Sagittarius to do? It says, allow for diversity of truth to exist. Allow for the ability to learn about communication through diversity, difference of opinions. Okay, so what the nodes symbolize from a North node's perspective is integration of the polarity to create balance so that it's not one-dimensional. In other words, what it's doing is, the North Node is saying, is to make choices in your life that integrates whatever sign it's in, to not only create balance within yourself, but to also shift your reality and circumstances and experiences in a holistic way, but also in a new direction. Okay, a new direction. And most of the time it will actually be associated with growth. Okay, why growth? Because growth itself is through experiencing situations that have never been experienced before, that then eventually become the totality of whatever you've experienced. So therefore, just like life in itself, we incarnate into this existence as babies, and you can see through the process of the body growing upwards and directly that there is a growth element to this. So therefore, the North Node would, from a spiritual perspective or sort of metaphysical perspective, indicate a direction the soul is intending to grow in, and this is how it creates equilibrium and balance. So the North Node is integration. South Node, gifts that you have regarding what you've experienced. North Node, balance and integration. Now, you can never truly decondition yourself from the South Node. So there's no point in saying, I must go away from the South Node and go towards my North Node. No. The idea is to just say, what is my North Node and how can I integrate that archetype into my life so that I create balance and a sense of new direction? Okay, so I can experience life holistically. Does everybody follow me when what I'm trying to say here? Okay. So another way to put this across to us, or to you and to me, is that if you had to look at the North Node itself, it's empty and the South Node is full. So experiences, new experiences. So it's basically just saying, hey, I'm up for new experiences and that's the direction I want to go. Okay? So you can never move away from your South Node. You can only integrate the North Node principles to learn more about what it is that you're trying to understand from a soul perspective. Okay, so don't try and move away from your South Node. There's no point. You can't. You cannot decondition yourself from it. It's impossible. And if you tried to, you would experience an intense amount of your life just being in silence completely. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go Aries North Node, okay, and the South Node is in Libra. This means that from the past, your soul has been working with understanding itself through a diversity of social ideas, perspectives, and opinions. In other words, different people's thoughts, ideas, and perspectives. Your South Node, you're good at listening to other people. You have your capacity to understand where other people are coming from, and you're probably very good at dealing with other people's needs. The North Node is asking you to say, it's also important to remember yourself. Okay? You've got to follow your own destiny. So don't let other people direct you totally. Okay, that's not the point. The point is to integrate yourself into the mix so that you don't lose yourself. Okay, do you see how this is working so far, guys? Okay, so let's do this. North Node in Taurus, South Node in Scorpio. If you look at your chart, you'll probably find there's quite a lot of karmic patterns regarding loss. Probably lots of karmic patterns regarding the desire to learn about what is truth, what is honesty, what is through the lens of life, from a very committed perspective. The North Node is saying to you, in this lifetime, balance it out by remembering to find self-security and self-reliance and self-sustainability through yourself as well. Don't lose your sense of identity in the relationship committedly. So you go into this relationship, you're completely codependent in this relationship, the relationship ends, and all of a sudden you're back to square one where you don't know how to pay the bills, you don't know how to cook any food, you don't know how to drive because you depended on the other guy. You were totally committed to it. So the North Node in Taurus is saying, I want to be able to not be completely dependent, so I'm going to become self-reliant, as well as learning how to develop my own sense of security within myself so I can share my resources without losing that. Okay? Let's go South Node in the 9th house, South Node in Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini. Okay, so what this means is the South Node's coming from the place where you're exploring the nature of life and the bigger questions, okay? So your general way of looking at life is through answering the bigger questions, being very intuitive, But there's a sense of alienation. There's a sense of being alone sometimes because your truth is so incredibly deep. So how do you connect with other people? So your question is this, through the Gemini North Node. Integration through recognizing that there are different ways to get to the truth, not just your way, firstly. And secondly, to learn how to communicate your deeper knowledge by asking questions that leads to deeper questions. Okay? So instead of saying what the truth is, ask the questions so that people then ask themselves the questions and then you elaborate. Okay? North Node in Cancer, South Node in Capricorn. Now, generally speaking, you're learning to understand the nature of life through social recognition. You're probably coming into this lifetime where there's quite a lot of heavy conditioning around emotional suppression, okay? Taking responsibility for stuff, being heavily burdened. So the North Node in Cancer is asking you to learn to integrate self-nurture, okay? So as much as you are going out into the world and helping other people, remember your own emotional reality. Learn to also recognize the importance of what your emotional reality is about. It's also asking you to balance through realizing inner security. Okay? So let's do this. South Node is in the 11th house of the zodiac, so Aquarius. North Node's in Leo. Super simple. Generally speaking, over here, you have been working through lifetimes where you're trying to find your tribe. You're trying to find what identity you belong to, which group facilitates your perspectives on things, which doesn't, etc. So naturally coming into this process, you'll find yourself feeling too objectified and maybe not want to integrate into groups because of a rejection. Maybe integrating into a group and then finding yourself that they don't value you and then having to break away from that and then not validating yourself. So the North Node in Leo is saying, remember to always validate yourself, your creativity, always express, always find where you belong, what is your special destiny, and integrate that into the group, okay? South Node in the 12th house, or in Pisces, North Node in Virgo, very difficult one, this one. The North Node is implying what? It's saying, the South Node is saying that you're coming into this lifetime where you've probably been answering the bigger questions in life through deep devotion, deep sacrifice, maybe coming into lifetimes where you've been completely overwhelmed by the nature of life, even to the point where you've probably have past lives and where you've had things just completely removed from you without you even having the capacity to know what to do. So the North Node of Virgo is saying, integrate yourself into the story by showing up, right? Being present. Okay, you're standing in the queue and somebody comes in front of you. You don't just stand back and say, okay, well, that's how it is. You turn around and say, hey, look, I was actually standing here. It would be great if you could honor the fact that I've been here before you, and here's the queue. Show up, bring yourself to the table. It also means self-analysis. Okay, South Node in Aries, North Node in Libra, opposite now. So South Node in Aries talks about a soul that has been answering its own questions in life. You're very pioneering orientated. You want to be just answer your own questions, do it your own way. What happens when you go into relationships? Now all of a sudden you've got to interact with other people's dynamics and other people's sense of structures, etc., etc. How does it take to learn about what it means to integrate yourself into the social sphere? Okay. South Node in Taurus, North Node in Scorpio. This is a big one, the frog and the well syndrome. I'm really, really good at facilitating my own resources and my feelings of security regarding what I own, etc. So there's no need for anybody to help me out. I don't need anybody's help. So therefore, you don't become somebody that wants to share, right? And so the Scorpio polarity point, or the 8th house, is saying, hey, you learn to become available and secure within your own energetic abundance by realizing that there is infinite abundance and that you can access that at any point in time. And so therefore you can learn to share. Sharing is caring for you. You're learning how to be able to integrate yourself into the greater whole. South Node in Gemini, North Node in Sag. South Node in Gemini implies that you've been having people answer the questions for you. by asking them, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And you've never come to a point within your own consciousness of being able to answer your own questions. So therefore, you've got to now ask the sage stuff, which is to say, hey, what is my personal belief system? And what type of questions do I ask to give me that answer? Okay, you see how this is working. Integration here. Okay, South Node in the 4th house, 10th house North Node. South Node, generally wanting to evolve myself through nurture and through protection and security and culture and community. 10th house asks you to recognize that security comes through direction, through being your own father, through understanding what it means to realize how you direct your own life. That's how you then take responsibility. South Node in the 5th house or in Leo, North Node in Aquarius. You've followed your own destiny. You've become aware of how to find your special destiny and act it out. But how do you do that in group dynamics? How do you show up in group dynamics and say, hey guys, I'm brilliant at what I do. Everybody bow down to me. Or, hey guys, I'm really good at what I do. Is there a place? Where can I belong? Where can I shine? And then the group allows you to fit into a specific place that is specific for you so that you can see your talent shine without having to demand that people look at you, but you actually have your own sense of destiny. Aquarius polarity, integration into groups, balance. Okay, South Node in the 6th house, North Node in the 12th. The soul is coming to learn through the nature of service, learning how to understand how to be humble and how to find my relationship to myself through wanting to help others, right? And also deep self-analysis. But you probably carry mass amounts of guilt and judgment and criticism and sense of lack. So what generally happens here is that the North Node in Cancer, the North Node in Pisces or the 12th house is saying, hey, it's about self-forgiveness and self-acceptance, and also how to learn how to go more with the flow. Integrate that into your consciousness, and you find yourself actually adding to your South Node. Okay? Awesome, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching it. Hit the like and subscribe button, of course, because YouTube likes that. If you haven't actually, had a reading with myself or studied astrology with me or done any of the membership programs, I highly recommend that you do. All the information is on my website. Just click on the link that's in the description. And other than that, guys, have a fantastic day and take care. Bye-bye.